Let's talk Statement Saturday in college football. Mr. College Football Man, your Penn State Nifty Lions are taking on the Michigan Wolverines, and everybody hates Jim Harbaugh. What else is on deck for us?
So not only do we have Michigan, Penn State, we also have Utah against Washington. I want to see how Utah responds after getting absolutely blasted by Oregon. We also have Alabama at Kentucky, which Kentucky could give Alabama some problems. We have number 10 Ole Miss at number 2 Georgia. That could be a very interesting game. Michigan State at Ohio State. Meh, Ohio State's going to roll them. But then we have at 10:30 Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans going up to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Oregon Ducks. We thought at the beginning of this season that USC could be a playoff contender and that Caleb Williams was going to run
Win the
away
Heisman.
and win his second consecutive Heisman. That hasn't been the case. This could be another statement game for Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks. Right now, I would say Michael Penix of the University of Washington is the favorite to win the Heisman because he beat Oregon and Bo Nix. But if Oregon goes out and beats USC, I think that puts Bo Nix, not that he was ever left off the conversation, but I think it closes the gap between him and Michael Penix.
So we did not talk about this last week because we were not on the air, and I think that we would have already been off the air by the time this was released. But the ever forgiving committee came out with their first college football rankings of the season. And the committee, in my opinion, which always gets it wrong, got it wrong again. Because they put Ohio State.
By the way, the new rankings are coming out in about 10 minutes.
So Ohio State was ranked number 1. Georgia was number 2. Michigan was number 3. Florida State was number 4. And then Washington 5, Oregon 6. I've been saying it on this show for, the past 3 or 4 weeks. I still believe Michigan is the best team in the country. Until somebody beats them, and again, I get it, they haven't played great. This is going to be their first big test against Penn State. They are blowing people out. And I think some of it has to do with, even though the committee won't admit it, the sign-stealing scandal of Jim Harbaugh, which, whatever. I told you this a couple weeks ago. I believe if Michigan was 4-4, no one would care about it. I think that Michigan, again, is the best team in the country. I do think because of their resume, Ohio State number 2, and I think you can put Washington, Oregon 3-4 right now. Florida State somewhere in there at 5. Georgia at 6. I think Georgia's in there more on reputation than anything, in my opinion. I cannot wait, and I hope, and I'm sorry because I know you're a Penn State fan, but I've been saying this for the past few weeks. Please give us, in whatever order it may be, number 1, Michigan, number 2, Ohio State, both teams undefeated going into that final Saturday in November. That would be the most highest rated college football game maybe ever, or especially since the USC Texas National Championship game in 2006.
I agree. I'll say this about the Penn State Michigan game. As much as I would love to say Penn State's going to upset Michigan this week, James Franklin has shown that he cannot win the big game when it comes to facing both Ohio State and Michigan. He had a golden opportunity to beat Ohio State a couple weeks ago in Columbus when we didn't feel Ohio State was necessarily great. We felt like they were really good, but it felt like this was the year Penn State could get them, and they didn't. So why am I to believe then that Penn State, even at home, can beat Michigan? I don't.
Your only chance is going to be, can you stop Michigan's run game? Because as good as J.J. McCarthy has been this year, and he's shooting up draft boards and mock drafts, we even talked about him in the conversation. He's going to be a first-round quarterback as well in this year's NFL draft. Michigan is so good on the offensive and defensive line. You can make an argument Michigan in that way is the Philadelphia Eagles of college football. They just beat you up. They are dominant up front on both sides of the ball, and that's the key. You have to stop their running game. You have to force J.J. McCarthy into third down, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 passing situations. That's the only way Penn State has a shot. Drew Adler will probably play better at home. I think it's a closer game. I think Michigan's in their first fight of the year. I'm going to say 30-23. I think Michigan wins by a touchdown. Would I be surprised if Michigan blows your team out? Unfortunately for you, no, I wouldn't. But I think Penn State, because they're at home, gets up for this game. It's Michigan's first real test of the year, and that's why I think they come out a little bit sluggish in the first half, put away Penn State in the second half.
Hey, I mean, I'm not setting myself up for disappointment because even though I'm a Penn State fan, I don't think Penn State's going to win this game. I genuinely do not. I want to believe they can, but they haven't shown me that they can step up and win those big games when they need to. Like I said, they had an opportunity to do it a couple weeks ago against Ohio State, and they didn't. So why do I believe it's going to be anything different? But you're talking about Michigan and the sign stealing scandal and everything with that. Earlier today on First Take, which they were at Stephen A. Smith's alma mater, Winston-Salem, an HBCU. But Stephen A. Smith said that because of this whole sign stealing scandal situation, whatever, Michigan should be banned from the CFP this season.
No.
Yes, he said that.
Okay. Let me try to put this in the best analogy I can. It may not make sense.
I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm just telling you that he made that
doesn't
statement.
make any sense. That's like you running or that's like your kid running a stop sign and then telling you that you have to go to court even though you didn't do it. You can't punish a team for allegations. There's no proof that they did this.
I mean, from what I've heard, the FBI has gotten involved in this, and the rest of the Big Ten.
Oh, whoop-de-doo, the FBI got involved. That doesn't mean anything. You got to have it on paper. Okay, Michigan did this. Boom, we're going to suspend them for 10 years. If they come on and say, oh, yeah, that's like Donald Trump coming on and saying, oh, the election's rigged. We have no proof the election's rigged. Happy election day again, everybody out there. There's no proof it was rigged. There's no proof it wasn't rigged. It's what people say. It's hearsay. We got to get concrete evidence on this. And until then, and by the way, Joe Quiet made a great point the other day on the Herd. The NCAA's got to go through this, and then their bylaws basically says they have 6 months to make a decision, and it will have no impact on the college football playoff this year.
Again, I'm not saying it was the right or wrong thing for him to say. I'm just telling you that's what he said.
Okay, well, that's Stephen A. Smith for you.